Welcome, curious minds, to the deep dive. Today we're plunging into a really mesmerizing and frankly chilling mystery. It all starts in this quiet, fog-laden English village with a very particular clockmaker.
Ah, yes, Durnford Hollow. You get this immediate sense of a place kind of lost in time.
Exactly, and the town's rhythm, it wasn't church bells apparently, but
Yeah.
the tick-tock from Elias Wren's shop, he was the heartbeat of the place, kept everything running like, well, clockwork.
Literally. From tower bells down to wristwatches, he handled it all. A central figure.
And right at the center of his world, in Wren's timepieces, stood this clock. An antique grandfather clock. Really peculiar.
How so? What made it stand out?
Well, for starters, its mahogany body was covered in these intricate carving symbols nobody could decipher, like nothing anyone recognized.
Unknown script. That's unusual.
Right. And Elias himself, quiet guy, he'd just say he didn't build it, that it came to him when he was young, just appeared almost.
Came to him. That's incredibly vague.
Yeah.
And suggestive.
Totally. And for decades, people just accepted it. Accepted him, this quiet man, and his mysterious clock. Didn't question it.
Until the night everything changed.
Exactly. The night that shattered that quiet rhythm, Elias Wren was found. Well, he was found slumped over that very clock.
Slumped over it, not just near it.
Right over it, eyes open, mouth slightly open, just stopped. And the clock, its hands were frozen, fixed, precisely at 3:17 a.m.
3:17 a.m. That time feels significant immediately.
It jumps right out.
Yeah.
And the coroner quickly ruled it natural causes, that something felt off.
You mean the villagers felt it was off?
The whole village, yeah. There was this silence, this profound unease. Everyone knew deep down that natural causes just didn't fit the picture. Something else was going on.
That immediate contradiction is fascinating, isn't it? The official story versus the gut feeling of the community.
Definitely. So that's our mission today. You've given us this amazing collection of sources, personal letters, old photos, historical records, even a hidden journal, all pointing towards something.
Fragments of a larger stranger picture.
Exactly. And you asked us to explore it, to sift through these clues. So we're going to unpack every detail, every peculiar clue, every chilling revelation we can find in these sources.
We're trying to piece together the truth behind Elias, his clock, and what really happened in Durnford Hollow.
It's more than just a story, isn't it? It feels like we're diving into the nature of time itself, as seen through these very strange documents.
It really does. And that initial scene, Elias's death, it sets the tone perfectly. That clash between the official explanation and the unspoken fear.
Right. It immediately makes you question everything.
It forces you to ask, how could a clock, just an object, make a death feel so unnatural? Even with a coroner's report saying otherwise.
It's not just that he died, it's how and where over that specific clock. And that time, 3:17 a.m.
It's presented not just as a time, but as the first real anomaly, the first big clue. It feels deliberate, almost like a signature.
A punctuation mark on his life, decided by the clock. It's chilling. Let's dig deeper into Elias's world then.
Okay. Durnford Hollow itself sounds like something out of a story. Foggy, timeless.
Yeah, the sources paint it vividly, forgotten by progress, where history just hangs in the air. And Elias Wren was the core of that, the town's living heartbeat, you could say.
Since 1964, living above the shop, Wren's timepieces, surrounded by all those ticking clocks.
Quiet man, gentle smile, but those hands, described as moving with mechanical grace. He kept the town's rhythm going.
So his entire life was about the precise measurement of time.
Which makes his death, frozen at that exact moment, 3.17, feel even more pointed, ironic, and deeply unsettling.
And amidst all the clocks he did understand and maintain, there was this one grandfather clock, the anomaly.
The outlier, yeah, mahogany, those unreadable symbols. It physically stood apart.
And Elias' story about it. It came to him as an apprentice, not built, not bought.
Right, that detail is huge. It gives the clock this unknown ancient origin, like it wasn't made, it just arrived. Maybe it even chose him.
Which adds another layer of mystery right there. Did it choose him specifically?
Good question. And the villagers, in their quiet way, they just went along with it for years. No one really pushed them on it.
Until his death. Found slumped over it. Eyes open. Mouth open. A picture of sudden shock or distress.
And the clock stopped. 3:17 a.m. It feels like the clock itself marked the moment, intentionally.
Despite the coroner saying natural causes, the sources really emphasize that lingering unease, the silence that followed.
Yeah, a silence heavy with unspoken questions. A collective feeling that the official story was just wrong.
Exactly. That initial scene is the hook. The official verdict versus what everyone felt. It pulls you right in
Makes you look past the surface.
and prompts that core question. What secret could this clock hold to make a death feel so profoundly unnatural?
The 3.17 timestamp feels less like coincidence and more like evidence, left behind by the clock.
It's too specific. It hints at a mechanism, a pattern we need to uncover in the sources. It's almost like the clock sealing a deal or taking credit.
Chilling thought. Okay, so it's this moment, this death, that brings Elias's niece back, Marin Wren.
Ah, the prodigal niece returns.
Right. She's 27, an engineering student in Edinburgh, been away for years. Coming back for the funeral must have been like stepping into the past.
The shop probably smelled the same. Varnish, old wood.
That's what she describes, the smell of time. And at first, everything looks normal, orderly, just like her uncle kept it, a surface calm.
But then she notices the clock. The grandfather clock.
Yes, the stopped heart of the shop. It's silent, which is jarring because all the other clocks are still ticking away.
That silence is important. It sets it apart again. And its condition.
Alarming. There's a jagged crack across its face, top to bottom, like a scar, a fresh wound.
A crack. And the pendulum.
Lying on the floor, inert. Which suggests, not just winding down, but a violent stop.
Broken, not just stopped. Maybe a struggle. Tied to Elias's death somehow.
It feels connected, definitely. And then there's the will. Elias leaves everything to Marin. The shop, the clocks, including that clock.
And the letter. That's crucial, isn't it?
Absolutely crucial. It's a direct message from Elias, seemingly written right before he died. Let me read this bit directly because it's wow. Marin, if you're reading this, I've likely made a mistake. There are things I never told you, secrets buried in the seconds. Whatever you do, don't let it tick again, Uncle Elias.
Don't let it tick again. A direct warning. Explicit.
Not subtle at all. He mentions a mistake. Secrets buried in the seconds. What was he trying to protect her from? What's the danger?
Well, his phrasing, I've likely made a mistake, suggests he knew the danger personally. It wasn't just theoretical for him. It ties into what we learn later about the ticks maybe not being reversible.
A point of no return. Okay, so he gets this clear warning.
And Marin. Well, she's human. She's an engineer. She reads the letter 3 times, grappling with it, but that urge to know.
She winds the clock, despite the warning.
It's that classic narrative trigger, isn't it? The forbidden action. But it speaks to that need to understand, especially about her uncle's last moments.
And the result is immediate.
Yes. It ticks. Once. Just one loud tick, and at the same instant, the lights in the shop flicker.
Wow. So a direct physical effect.
Undeniable proof. This isn't just an old clock, it's active. It interacts with its environment. Elias wasn't exaggerating the danger. That first kick confirms it.
And things escalate quickly from there. The next morning, Marin's still drawn to it. She notices the floorboards beneath the clock are uneven.
The classic hidden compartment glue.
Pretty much. She pries one up and finds a flat brass box, sealed tight, like it's protecting something or hiding something dangerous.
Feels heavy with significance already. What's inside?
It's disturbing. Old black and white photos wrapped in oilskin to protect them.
Photos of what?
People, always taken in the shop, right in front of that grandfather clock. Each photo shows one person standing alone, looking stiff, almost unnatural.
Posed unwillingly, maybe.
That's the feeling. And their names are written on the back, like a record, a very grim record.
A sequence. And the last photo.
Elias himself, dated 2004. So he's part of this collection, directly linked.
Okay, that's unsettling. And his photo? Any inscription?
Oh, yeah. And it's a bombshell. On the back of Elias's own photo, it says, "Time is not a line, it is a doorway, don't open it."
Whoa. Okay. Time is not a line, it is a doorway. That changes everything.
Right, it's not just about measuring time or even traveling along it. It's a portal, access between points, dimensions.
It reframes the whole concept.
Yeah.
Time as a navigable space, not just a progression. Doors to other moments, maybe other realities. That's a
Yeah.
huge theoretical leap.
It suggests the clock isn't the vehicle, it's the key to this whole other structure of time.
A completely different temporal geometry.
Yeah.
Fascinating. And terrifying.
And Marin finds more proof right away. She's looking through the older photos.
Yes.
The name jumps out. Margot Green, dated 1926. Marin vaguely remembers the village rumors about her.
What were the rumors?
That she vanished decades ago, supposedly ran off to Paris, just disappeared.
But the photo.
Tells a very different story. Margot looks terrified.
Yeah.
Absolutely petrified. Wide eyes, pure fear. Nothing like someone planning a secret escape.
So the photo contradicts the local legend entirely.
Completely. And then the kicker, the clock hands behind Margot in the photo.
Let me guess. 3:17 a.m.
You got it. 3:17 a.m., the exact same time Elias died, decades later. It connects them. It shows a pattern.
A repeating pattern of activation. And the fear on Margot's face, it really makes you think the clock isn't just recording these moments.
No, it feels like it's causing them, like she's being taken right then and there.
That detail about Margot is so significant. It anchors the disappearances to the clock, to that specific time. It's not random.
The 3.7 time becomes its signature, deliberate.
And Margot's fear suggests the clock has agency, maybe even a predatory nature.
Okay, so this is getting intense. Marin takes the photos, Elias's warning ringing in her ears, and goes to see Mr. Allard, the local historian.
Ah, the keeper of secrets.
You could say that. He's surrounded by dusty records. She shows him the photos.
And his reaction.
Immediate recognition. He goes pale. He knows the faces. His voice trembles as he says, "These people, they all disappeared, one by one. Margot, Reuben, Esther, all declared missing within days of these dates."
So he confirms the pattern. These weren't just photos. They were the last record of vanished people, all linked to the clock.
Exactly. But Allard knows more. Much more. His knowledge of the clock, it's deep. Unsettling.
What does he reveal?
He tells Marin that clock isn't just old, it predates the village. It was here before we were, before roads, before maps.
Whoa. Predates the village, so it's primordial, not human-made.
That's the implication, an artifact out of time. An entity, maybe, not just an object. And he shares what Elias believed.
Which was?
Elias swore the clock could take people not to death, but to somewhere else.
Somewhere else. So not death, but displacement. Temporal. Interdimensional.
That's the terrifying question. And crucially, Allard reveals Elias's mission. He was trying to seal it.
Seal it, contain it. So Elias knew how dangerous it was. He wasn't just maintaining it, he was fighting it.
He was a guardian, trying to lock down this ancient, powerful force, which gives context to his death, maybe, his mistake.
It certainly seems plausible. He failed to seal it, and it took him.
That leads Marin to the big question, the one nagging at all of us. But why 3.17?
And Allard's answer.
Delivered trembling, he says, "I think it's not the time, it's the code."
The code. Okay, that reframes everything again.
Right. A clock older than the village, people vanishing, and 3.17 isn't a time, it's an activation code. Like a password.
It implies intent, a specific mechanism. We're moving beyond coincidence to deliberate function, a programmed instruction.
It suggests the clock operates with precision, maybe even intelligence.
Or a very sophisticated ancient program. It's no longer just when things happen, but how they're triggered. By this specific numerical sequence, a repeatable trigger.
This revelation 3.17 and the code would. Marin can't shake it, she can't sleep. Curiosity, dread, the need for answers. It's all consuming.
Understandable. What does she do?
She goes back to the clock, midnight, sits in front of it, and against her uncle's explicit warning, against her own fear.
She moves the hands. The 3.17 again.
She does. Trembling, she sets the code. An act of incredible bravery. Maybe recklessness.
And the clock's response this time, is it another tick?
No, different. It doesn't tick, it hums. A low, deep, resonant hum. Coming from its core, a different kind of activation.
And what happens to Marin?
Her whole perception shifts, the world blurs, colors bleed. Her body feels incredibly heavy, pinned down, but her mind slips free.
Consciousness displacement. Not physical travel, but her awareness moving.
Seems like it, a non-physical journey. She's being transported somewhere, but not bodily.
So the clock can manipulate consciousness, perception, reality itself. This is far beyond mechanics.
And where does she go? What does she see?
It's incredible. She describes a corridor of clocks, endless. Grandfather clocks like Elias's, suspended in void, glowing faintly.
A corridor of clocks.
Right.
Wow. And beneath her, a river of gears, flowing endlessly. This has to be the somewhere else Allard mentioned. A place made of time. A nexus.
It suggests a whole system, doesn't it? A network of these devices or pathways. Elias's clock is just one node, one doorway.
And then she sees him, Elias, at the end of the corridor.
Elias, he's there, in this time dimension.
He is a ghostly figure, but definitely him. He speaks, but she can't hear the words. Lost in the hum, the silence of that place.
Frustrating. Communication just out of reach. But his presence confirms he's connected to this place, maybe trapped there.
Seems likely. And then he does something incredible. He reaches into his chest.
Into his chest, symbolically.
It seems so. And pulls out a small brass key. Then he tosses it towards her. A gesture of passing something on.
A key. And then what?
She snaps back, wakes up gasping in the shop, hands empty, thinking maybe it was just a dream, a hallucination, but she checks her pocket, and it's there. The small, cold brass key, tangible proof.
They crossed over from that non-physical realm into her physical reality.
Exactly. The vision was real, Elias was there, and he sent her a key.
That physical manifestation is the ultimate confirmation. The clock isn't just a viewer, it's a conduit. It links these realities. It forces Marin to accept this isn't just a mystery, it's something profoundly real and strange.
And that key, it turns out, is literal. It unlocks the next layer.
Where does it fit?
A tiny, hidden drawer beneath the clock face. Almost invisible, she hadn't noticed it before.
Cleverly concealed. And inside.
Elias's hidden journal, decades of his life's work, his obsession.
The jackpot, not just a diary, I assume.
No, far more. Pages filled with calculations, complex diagrams of the clock's mechanics, its temporal effects, and names.
Names. The other disappeared people, he was tracking them, studying them.
Looks like it. It's like his scientific logbook, trying to understand this impossible physics, trying to map the doorway, maybe.
What kind of calculations would you even do for a device like that?
Oh.
Temporal geometry, interdimensional physics is mind-boggling.
It shows how deep he went trying to figure it out. But the final entry, that's the core of it all. It explains everything. His life, his death.
Okay, let's hear it. This sounds crucial.
It is, he wrote. I saw Margot again. She hasn't aged. Time doesn't pass there, it loops. The clock chooses who it takes. But I think it's breaking. The next tick may not be reversible. I've locked it down. If I fail, she'll have to finish it.
Wow, okay. Let's unpack that. Margot hasn't aged, confirms the nature of that other place. Time is static there.
Or worse, it loops. A cyclical prison, events repeating forever. That's horrifying.
And the clock chooses who it takes. Sentience. Or at least a selective program. It's actively picking people. Predatory.
Making it an active entity, not just a passive portal. Then, I think it's breaking. The next tick may not be reversible. That explains his desperation. The clock is unstable. Future trips might be one way.
Which explains why he was trying to seal it, locking it down. Desperate measure.
Then the final line, if I fail, she'll have to finish it. He knew he might not succeed. And he was counting on Marin, passing the responsibility to her.
It's the Rosetta Stone, like you said. It explains the how and why, the looping time, the clock's choices. It fundamentally changes our perception of this thing. Was Elias trying to destroy it or just contain its instability?
That's the question, isn't it? And beneath that entry, a final hastily scribbled note. Marin, if it calls to you, resist. If it opens, run. A visceral warning, not just about physical danger, but maybe about being trapped in that loop, losing herself.
Marin understands. The journal confirmed her worst fears. The clock is breaking. The next activation could be permanent. She has to act.
But decision.
Destroy it. She can't risk it taking anyone else. She can't risk it taking her. She gets tools, gloves, and starts dismantling it.
But the clock fights back.
It does. In this really weird way, every gear she removes feels lighter in her hand, like it's actively resisting, shedding weight, pushing back somehow.
A self-preservation instinct. A defense mechanism. Almost alive.
That's how it feels. And then the room starts to hum again, that deep, resonant vibration. It's powering up in self-defense.
Seems likely. The air gets heavy, charged. And then the clock takes control. The hands move on their own. Sweep around to precinct 7 a.m. The code activates itself.
Bypassing her efforts entirely, asserting its own will.
The hum gets louder, then a whisper. Not sound, but in her mind.
Yeah.
From the clock.
What does it say?
One more.
One more. Chilling. A conscious demand for another victim, another activation.
It confirms it's sentient, or close to it. Predatory. It wants to fulfill its purpose. This changes everything. It resists, moves on its own, whispers demand.
It confirms its autonomous nature. The lighter gears, the hum, active resistance. And that whisper, one more, coupled with what happens next. It's the final, terrifying proof.
Marin panics, runs to grab the brass box of photos, maybe for safety, maybe for answers.
Yeah.
There's a new photo on top of the stack.
A new one. Of who?
Of her, Marin, taken from above, like the clock's perspective, showing her standing right there in the shop.
Okay, but the date?
Dated tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Oh no, a prediction. It's not just predicting her future, it's creating it. She's the one more.
It set her up. She's next on the list. The clock has declared its intention.
Was it trying to pull her into the loop as a final act? To fulfill its purpose before she could destroy it? A direct causal link between its will and her fate.
Seeing that photo, proof of her immediate future, she knows she has one night, One night before she becomes another face in that box.
So her resolve hardens.
Absolutely. Fear, yes, but determination wins. She loads the clock, this huge, heavy, malevolent thing, into her uncle's truck.
Where is she taking it?
Far away, out to the edge of the moor. To an abandoned quarry. Desolate. Isolated. The perfect place for destruction.
No witnesses, no interruptions.
Right. She gets there. Deep night. The time is 3:10 a.m.
7 minutes. 7 minutes until the code activates, until her predicted fate. The tension must be incredible.
Palpable. She stares at the clock, its symbol seeming to watch her in the headlights. Then she starts pouring gasoline over it.
Preparing the end.
And she whispers, "I'm sorry, Uncle." Part regret, part grim necessity. Finishing his work. Defying the clock's plan for her.
An act of love, in a way.
Yeah.
And defiance.
Then the moment comes. She lights the match.
The fire erupts.
A huge inferno, consuming the wood, the metal, gears screaming, wood cracking. But then,
But it does something else.
even as it's burning, being destroyed, it ticks. One last time. 3.17. We don't know for sure, but it gets one final tick in.
A final act of defiance.
Yeah.
Its power persisting even through destruction, or releasing its energy.
Maybe. But then something else happens. A strange wind bursts from the fire, rushes past her.
A wind from the fire.
And for just a second, the flames twist into the shape of a man. Elias.
In the flame.
Just for an instant, and he smiles. A look of relief, peace, gratitude. Then he vanishes.
Wow. So, closure. Was he trapped in the clock, his spirit bound to it, and her act freed him?
It feels like that, like his mission was finally complete, through her. Maybe he wasn't truly dead before, just held, and now he's free.
That final tick, Elias' appearance. It's incredibly symbolic. The end of the clock, the release of its prisoner. A powerful conclusion.
A dramatic, almost mythical end. So life goes on for Marin. She rebuilds the shop, reclaims the space.
The clock spun.
Remains empty. A deliberate void, a constant reminder of what was there, what happened.
And the photos.
Okay.
Does she keep them?
Yes. In a safe now, the brass box, and she checks it every morning.
A ritual. Born from trauma, making sure no new photos appear.
Exactly. And so far, nothing. It seems the clock's ability to predict or create those future images is gone. The direct threat is over.
That's some relief, at least.
But there's one final unsettling detail in the sources. A lingering echo.
What is it?
Once during a bad storm, the power went out. Village plunged into darkness. Her shop totally silent.
Yeah.
In that deep quiet, she could have sworn she heard it. A single, lonely tick coming from the empty space where the clock used to be.
Just an echo. A memory. Or
Something else.
that's the question, isn't it? It's just psychological, or a sign that its power, its essence, isn't entirely gone. Maybe a return to that river of gears Elias saw. Can something like that ever be truly destroyed? Especially if its nature is temporal, interdimensional, maybe its echoes persist. This whole deep dive. It really shows how facing these family secrets, however strange, can lead to profound discoveries.
And makes you question time itself. Are some doors best left shut?
Perhaps it's a cautionary tale wrapped in a temporal mystery.
So there we have it. Our journey through Durnford Hollow, Elias Wren, and his truly unique, terrifying grandfather clock. We found an ancient entity, a doorway using 3.17 a.m. as its code, trapping people in a looping dimension.
We saw Elias's fight to contain it and Marin's final fiery act to destroy it, seemingly freeing her uncle in the process.
But it leaves us with that final nagging thought. Elias wrote that time loops there. If that's true, can the essence of a device like that, tied to looping time, ever truly be gone?
Or does destruction just send it back to the start of another loop? Waiting in that river of gears for another 3.17, another curious hand to wind it back up. In another place, another time.
Does it just find a new beginning? A chilling possibility to consider. Until our next deep dive, think about the end.